Hey, everybody, it's Rhino, and welcome to the Launchpad. This is a show where we are going to be highlighting some of our content creators here at the Ampliverse and share with you some of the exciting stuff that they are working on.
Hi, and I'm RJ, also from the Ampliverse. And today we have a very special guest. She is the writer of a monthly essay series on our website called Mental Health Monthly. And she's also the one of the hosts to our really exciting new show on the Ampliverse called Limited Time Yum. Give it up for Taylor. Taylor, hi. Welcome to the
Hi,
Launchpad.
it's so nice to be here. Thank you so much. So as RJ said, I write for Mental Health Monthly. That's just some series where I kind of just pick a theme every month, kind of loosely based on like the main thing going on that month. Like for April, it was Earth Day, so I did like growth and discovery and that kind of thing. And then Limited Time Yum is a show where me and my partner Kyle just get to eat snacks that are limited edition or unique or wild. We just really like to find food at the grocery store that says limited edition on it and feel like it's a treasure that we've found. So, but yeah, and RJ just asked me to be a part of this, and I was like, really, me? Because it's so exciting to get to do stuff that's outside of the realm of what I normally do with my day to day work. I remember when we were brainstorming for this, you were like, well, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And I was like, I don't think anyone has ever asked me that before, and I've never got an opportunity to just kind of go for it.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I mean, that does sound kind of sad, but no, I mean, I just it's exciting to just get to create for
Mhm.
fun. RJ has to remind me all the time that this is for fun. I mean,
This is
and
for
it
fun.
is, it's a lot of fun.
Taylor, I want to talk about limited time yum here for a second because I love to eat, I love to drink. I want to know like where so you came up with this idea, but like this was a thing you guys already did. You were already just being like, okay, we're going and whatever we see, we're grabbing off the shelves. Do you like follow food places? Like I follow a couple of places on Instagram where it's like junk food and they'll be like, oh, limited edition whatever, and I'll be like, I don't know, should I look for this? But that's why I'm obsessed with this with a limited time yum. I think it's such a great idea. And your first episode was about Oreos, which is great because I feel like every time I'm at the grocery store, there's like 50 new flavors of Oreos. It is insanity. But was it the Oreos that started you off where you were like, I think we've got something here? Or were you just like, I want it all?
Yeah, so the way that it started is we when you said you're like eating and drinking are like the two things that I just love to do. We are the same way. When we travel, our main focus is like what local food can we get? What things can we get? Like when we go to Disney, like if there's a festival happening, like that's like going to be the main basis of what we're eating at Epcot. And then when we go to the grocery store, we, get what we need to get, and then we spend, pre-pandemic, we every grocery store trip would be at least an hour because we like to just walk up and down the aisles and just see what's there. And I we started with Oreos because I mean, yeah, like there are just so many wild flavors of Oreos happening all the time. Like while we were filming the one that we just filmed, we found another flavor, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do a reel on Instagram because like they just
I
keep
saw
coming,
that.
they just
Yeah.
keep happening. Like, and so we're like, we got to get this one in too. And that box was gone like in 2 days. The one thing I do
Whoa.
love about being able to do this is that I don't know if it reads on film, but Kyle is like enormous. Like he is a very large man. And so, it's kind of great to my appetite is definitely there, but his is like that of at least 2.5 people. And so we buy all this food and then it never goes to waste because he's always there to pick up the slack if he doesn't like it. I will say those hazelnut Oreos, I had to end up giving some of them away because I
Oh
couldn't eat them
no.
all and he obviously would not touch them.
You published that
He's
episode, and I kid you not, my friend had sent me a care package, and I opened it up, and I was like, "Oh, no." They were hazelnut Oreos inside of it, and I was like, Oh, maybe I
Oh
should just try
no.
these for myself. Too much chocolate. Too much chocolate for me.
He is such a drama queen when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, so we just really do we enjoy, like I said, like local fare and like stuff that we can't get here in North Carolina. And we also just love the allure of like the limited release item. Like, and that translates
Yeah.
to so many things in our life. Like we love like limited edition like collectibles, limited edition records, like all that kind of stuff. And then with food, it's even more exciting because you get to eat it and you get to,
It's like limited because
yeah,
it's like not only that, but it's only good for a certain amount of time. So you got to like
yeah,
strike before it expires and stuff. Like,
exactly. And then like, and it kind of just feels like when you get to try that limited edition item that you were like part of something. It's like
yeah,
sounds so
no,
dramatic. But
100%.
like with the Lady Gaga Oreos, like I'm so glad that I got to have those because now I'll have been a part of that forever.
When we were kind of brainstorming the different show ideas, and I was like telling Rhino about like of the stuff that we had come up with. When I said limited time yum, Rhino didn't even skip a beat. He was like, "Yes, I want it now."
Yeah,
So that's
yeah. That was the
that's
show I was
probably
most excited for.
yeah, that's probably
More than
why like
anything
you
I was doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably why you probably felt a little pressure because I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" We weren't trying to be like, "Hey, where's your show?" But it was just like
Yeah.
Rhino just keeps talking about it because he's so excited to like see how it works.
We have this embarrassing pile of food. I mean, maybe instead of embarrassing, it's kind of like astonishing pile of food in our like spare pantry. So we have like
Yeah,
our main pantry, and then we have our spare pantry that has all of our
Your
limited time
limited
yum
time
food.
pantry.
yeah.
Yeah, we
The
have
limited
so we
time
have
pantry, yeah.
yeah, because when I see it, I have to get it because what if I can't get it again and like, I have to buy it and so we can't eat it and like there have been a couple of times where Kyle's like so what's going on with this? And I'm like we can't. And he's like, what? And I'm like, we can't. We have to wait. We have to save it for
Yeah.
filming. And it gets really difficult. There is nothing worse than seeing something and saying, oh, I'll get it later. And then it's gone. And I have had that experience, that letdown too many times in my
Oh
life
no.
with so many things, with collectibles, with
Yeah.
with food. And I'm like, gotta go right now because you
Yeah.
never like it's kind of crazy because you don't especially in North Carolina, we had that Hello Kitty food truck come to North Carolina. Have you guys seen
Here
that thing?
too. Yes, we went through
Yeah.
here too.
And I was like, how many people in North Carolina could possibly we live in Greensboro, which it's a big place, but it's not really. And it's like, how many people could possibly care about this Hello Kitty we waited in line for 2 hours for
Oh
that
my
thing.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, so, but it was worth it because it was so awesome and adorable, and I may never get to have that again, but I have pictures of it, and I, like, got to taste it, and it was really
Yeah,
good,
that's cool.
and, like, I really love not only just, like, getting to taste the food, but the experience of being like, "I was there."
Mhm.
But I think that the I will say like yeah, you really bring up a good point about the limited stuff like trying to get it and like sometimes you do fail. That's like that is part of the fun about it of like I missed it, but it was like so exciting to just kind of like amp up to like try and see if there was a chance that you could get it too. But I also do like the idea of asking for stuff and like really blasting out on our like
On the
social
internet?
media if it's
Yeah.
like yeah it's like we just found this. It's out there somewhere. If anyone knows it, please, here's a PO box. Like, send it our way.
I
Listen,
mean,
I
I'm all about that.
yeah.
that could be a huge part of the show. Like we could that I mean like okay, gonna go open up a PO box like tomorrow because that could be a
Yeah.
really awesome way to engage with everybody. Like if people are sending us stuff, we can like give them shout outs on the show. Like,
Yeah.
this is like yeah, because like again, because we live in I want to because people know like Charlotte and Raleigh, like those
Charlotte.
bigger cities in North Carolina. Greensboro is not that big, but it's also not like a tiny town either. But I will say that like, when the Mickey bars came to the grocery
Yeah.
stores, we were like dead last to get those.
I mean, hey, that's what the Ampliverse is for, right? Like, you have to show up and show out for the things that you love. But I will say, like, we do give a pass of like things that we collect, like collector's edition is like this, there's only 20 of this or whatever, blah, 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 we have to get it. But for some reason, like with food, like no one really thinks about food in that way. And
Yeah.
so that's why I really like that, like limited time yum is very much like they're never gonna make this again. We gotta eat it. We gotta eat it now.
I also love because there's just this thing, and I know I've said it to RJ, and you guys all know it too because you all love food. We all love food here. Is that like it's just something about food is such an emotional thing that I think people just it's like what you said. It's like not something you think about necessarily, but it can put you in a place so like I think about like when I go to Disneyland, a mint julep, like, but it's not necessarily like, oh, the mint julep's the best drink I ever had. It's minty lemonade, and I love it. But it has somehow become this encapsulated like feeling of all those good times. So when I have it, I'm like, oh, thank God something's right in the world. Like, so it's like it's funny how that journey and that excitement, like you said, about the hunt of finding it, it gives you like a purpose. And then when you have it, whether you get it or not, when you get it, yes, it's amazing, but it's still fun to play the game, right? And share that with people. And that's why I think doing what you're talking about, like interacting with people, like kind of doing ascending like a mail call thing sounds like a great idea because you're kind of sending that love back and forth. That sounds really cool.
And one of the ideas also that I had when I was brainstorming with RJ for things to do for the Ampliverse that, this will be down the road. I also talked to Casey about this, but I think Rhino needs to be a part of it too. Just having a show where we just obsess over our collectibles and just talk about how much we love them. And like, I think that would be like, that's a thing that I want to do down the road because I could talk about that forever. It's that hunt for those things that you love, be it food or collectibles or anything, knowing that there's only a limited number of them. I don't know, maybe it's a false sense of like feeling cool, but I sure feel cool.
Yeah, you're a part of something. It's what you said. You're a part of a community. Like you are like, oh, I got to experience that, or oh, I've got this thing. And really it's like, and people will be like, oh, well, what are you going to do with it? And I'm like, I don't know. When I look at it, it brings me some sense of joy. And that's all that really matters,
Exactly.
right?
That is all that really matters, in my opinion. Like, it is all about the fact that, like, and especially right now, but I feel like this applies all the time. Like, there are so many things in life that, like, we have to deal with and have to, this is a perfect transition into the next thing that I
I was
created.
about to say, this is a really good segue.
Yeah, it's almost like I do podcasting for a living. Like there are so many things that we have to do and that are like, and especially as adults, like we're expected to not, play with toys anymore. But like at the end of the day, if it brings you joy, that is all that matters in the midst of all the things that we have to deal with in life.
I mean, you've teed it up so perfectly, Taylor, to shift gears into the other content that you're making for the site, which is your monthly written essays, which is the Mental Health Monthly. I did want to like ask, like, when we were brainstorming about like written content, which is like something that I think all of us are really new to. Like, this is something like we've never really kind of like delved into before, but we're so interested in it and passionate in it. I wanted to kind of like see like what kind of nudged you and noodled you into like being comfortable and like finding your process and like being able to like like have comfortably like come up with these essays every month to kind of like help people get ready, mentally prepared for as they keep trudging along every month during this panorama Panera bread that we're in.
Well, in the spirit of transparency that I really feel deeply is important when you're talking about things that you're creating, the process is not comfortable for me. I really kind of just said that as a thing, and as RJ does very well, he was like, "Let's do it." And I was like, "Okay."
I know it's a blessing and a curse. I can't help it.
Yeah, like you do have a really good way of like making it so nonchalant that we're gonna like do something that we have never done before, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, and and the first one came easy because the first one was about self love, and I was in the midst of doing some self-love stuff on my own brand. And so I was just kind of in that. And then one of the notes that Kim, the editor, keeps giving me is to tell more of my story and to like be more specific. And it's so funny. I just thought about this as I was editing the other night for April, that I'm like, why does anyone care about what I have to say? And I'm like, girl, you are writing this. Like, of course they care about what you have to say. I'm always like, it's so, because I have a lot of anxiety and self-esteem issues, I am so quick to like make myself small. And I
Mhm.
forget that, like, no, this is why people are reading this. They want to hear this stuff, and they want me to, like, be vulnerable and really say the things that I have to say. And it's tough every month. And I do kind of have that like movie writer moment every month where I'm like sitting at the computer and I'm like, yeah. And it's like there's like some kind of like 80s music in the background. I'm chewing on my
Yeah.
pencil kind of thing. And then it always comes out. And really the only thing that stands in my way is me, because I'm not a writer by, I went to school for audio. But yeah, I really, it just something that I do to get out of my comfort zone. And so far I feel like I'm learning a lot, and I'm hoping that people are liking it.
Yeah, I mean, you do mention Kim, who like I feel like is the unsung hero of like our all of the writing that the Ampliverse is doing. She edits all of
Who
our
is Kim?
pieces. Kim,
I'm just kidding. I'm joking, obviously. Kim and I have been friends since we were 8 years old, so I just want to
truly,
be clear.
since they were
Yeah.
children. But I will say, like with Kim, like everyone that has written for the site, even like Adam, like when he wrote his BTS article, it was like essay, BTS essay. I'm so sorry, Kim.
Yeah.
I think
Don't get her on us.
we were all learning like about something about ourselves, because clearly it is something that we're all like we're not comfortable with. We aren't writers by trade, but we want to try it and want to be passionate about it. And she definitely has called, I think, all of us out and being like, you're not talking about yourself, or like you're not sharing things about yourself, which is the reason why you're writing. So like, and I think that we're having that shift now, especially with the panorama that we're in. It's like it's the first time we have to actually like champion for ourselves and like say like, wow, I actually am like valid and my experiences are valid and I can talk about it because people can learn from it, or commiserate or relate to it. And I think that's something that with your writing especially, I think we're all kind of like, as we read it every month, it's like, oh, like we're connecting and we're also learning about ourselves, and yeah, just being better to ourselves, which has been great.
I think what's really important too to remember, and like I have this conversation with myself sometimes too, is that you don't you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be the number one, like whatever on the topic or anything like that. Sometimes people just need the person to take the first step. Like because even like, and that's what they need to see, that it's going to be okay because you tried it, and maybe it's just it's like a haunted house. Sometimes you just need one person to go in front of you in order to go through it, whereas maybe you're too afraid to do it alone. But if you have that other person who might get scared as well, but if you're doing it together, it like has that bonding experience and you can kind of learn things from each other. And it is a very I'm sure it's a incredibly anything we do online, I think, is always kind of in this day and age is sometimes very much looked at as just being like, oh, millennials or Generation Z or oh, whatever, and it's like one of those things where you're putting yourself out there, and that's a very raw and vulnerable experience because strangers will just rip you apart. And that doesn't happen really in real life, like outside of high school. And even then, those are some like like people like who live down the street, and you're like, oh yeah, that idiot, like or whatever, and you kind of know some of their backstory or you learn it throughout being forced together with them. But it's not it's there's nowhere else that people are just yelling out these horrible, well, there are, but like, you know what I mean? It's nobody just is attacking you for being you really anywhere better than YouTube. And so and Twitter. But that, again, that's why we wanted to create the Ampliverse, was to create these kind of spaces where it's just, about being about its fandom and things like that. So I was also really attracted to this idea too, that you're this journey that you're going through, how you're sharing that with other people, because again, it's about kind of like being like, okay, well, let's put up a little bit of a barrier for each other. Let's be there for each other. And then the more comfortable we get, we can continue to expand the space and make more and more safe spaces for other people, comfortable spaces, and just, I don't know. So I admire your courage and your bravery to be the person to take that journey to pull others along.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And it is do taking that first step is kind of what I have begun to base my entire career on. Mental health is something that I really care about. I struggle with it pretty severely. And, you know, mental health falls under the category of one of those things that people don't see. They can't see it's not like a broken arm, like you can't see it. And a lot of the times, if somebody is having an experience that you don't understand, we're very quick to think, well, get over it. Why I don't
Hmm.
understand. Why does it matter? And the reality of the situation is we need to start understanding that just because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening to somebody else. And in the same vein, there are so many times where you think that it's only happening to you when it's really happening to a lot of people. And so it's really important for me not only to advocate for the visibility of mental health and the people that struggle with mental health issues, but also to remind the people that are struggling that they're not alone. And yeah, I would say that I in my life have always been the one to kind of like take the first step, except in a haunted house. Somebody else has to go first in that. But in life, I'm the one that when you're at a restaurant and there's like somebody has like an issue and you're like, oh, we need to
Oh yeah.
maybe your table is not where you want it to be, and it's like so terrifying to ask if you could just move over, and usually it's fine. But so I'm always, I'm the tribute. I'm always the one, but it's more that they're like, you have to do it. It's more like, well, let me just, let me do this so that everybody can feel better. And that's kind
Hmm.
of how I do what I do with Mental Health Monthly and with all the mental health work that I do, is like, how about I just do this thing so that we can all feel better, but at the same time be honest about the fact that I'm also very uncomfortable, and like we're all kind of dealing with that.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you say that you're the tribute, that's a thing, and it doesn't mean that you have any less anxiety about it. It just means that that sometimes you have to be the match, that you have to light that spark for people, and that is admirable, because I suffer from like crippling anxiety too, and it's like I've been seeing a doctor about it now and stuff, because I just thought that's how everybody was. And turns out not so much. So, because I was like, oh, not everyone has this much trouble like crossing a street. I try to explain to people what crossing a street is like for me in a parking lot. Like when I go out of the car to cross to get into a Target area, I'm like, some people, it's for you. You're just at the door. You didn't even think about it. But for me, it's about how many cars are coming left and right, how close they are to the stop sign. Will they stop at the stop sign? Am I inconveniencing that person for being at the stop sign? I am thinking about every human being that is in the parking lot all at once. And I was like, it's not fun. But then when you hear, it's amazing to meet one other person in the world that says, yeah, I have that same thing. You know what works for me? Obviously, seeking professional help if you are ever in need is number one. Do that, obviously.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I really think that that's why I love doing the mental health work that I'm doing, is really all about visibility and awareness. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I get to do this writing to further that.
I think too, like it goes to like, I know there was that hesitation in the beginning of in all of our projects where it's like, yeah, we're not experts in these, like we're not experts in our the stuff that we love, but it's like that's not our job. Our job is to like celebrate and express it so that
Yeah.
people can like relate with us. Like even when like with Bourbon Study, like you're not an expert, you're just they're learning with us. With our other show like Star Kids, like Ari and Terrence, they're learning about
Yeah.
astrology, so it's like people can listen and learn alongside us. And I think the mental health monthly like kind of like really represents that too. It's like these are just things that I have worked for me and have really helped me through really, dark times. And there's just like strength in that, especially now too. We just know that like there is a communal experience. We're all going through the same things, in one aspect or another. But any help will be accepted. Anything to get us through.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, Taylor, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so happy that you are part of the Ampliverse, and like, it sounds like there's going to be some more stuff that we're cooking up, in the future, which I'm excited about because yes, you contain multitudes. Like as we can see from your background, you have multiple things that you love, and we have just barely scratched the surface. So if you would please, plug like any of your social media, any of the projects that you're doing, with the Ampliverse and even with outside too, because I think people are getting to know you and love what you're doing. So plug away, please.
Yeah, so obviously follow Limited Time Yum at Limited Time Yum on Instagram. Like I said, I have other mental health media that I'm creating through a brand called Who Knows. We have a podcast, and I'm going to be doing YouTube and some writing over there as well. You can follow us on Instagram at Who Knows, and you can find all the work that I've done so far at whoknowspod.com. And if you want to follow me, I'm just at tdanko on Instagram. And usually it's like right now I have a story up there trying to prove to Kyle that most people would not agree that Extremely Goofy Movie is better than a Goofy movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, if you want to watch me try to prove Kyle wrong a lot,
The hot
follow me
debates.
over on my person. Yeah.
Oh my God,
The drama
monster.
does not stop after Limited Time Yum is done filming. We live together, and it's drama all day long.
Oh my, somebody who literally has this little power line pop right here sitting in my cup.
I'm sorry,
I am
he's an-
offended.
There are like 7 other people that agree with him, but he's an idiot.
My bottle,
like, yeah,
my
he's an idiot.
blanket. You know
Yeah.
what none of these are from? Extremely Goofy Movie.
Goofy Movie. Who cares? Who cares
You know
about
what
college? All I want to see is power line.
Yeah, that one's literally still in the shrink wrap right here next to a Goofy Movie. And then I have Extremely Goofy Movie. I've never even opened it. I feel terrible. No, I don't feel terrible. Well, thank you so much, Taylor, for doing this. I'm glad we could finally get this to happen after it was
3
my
weeks of
fault at
rescheduling.
first. Yeah,
We
was
did
just
it.
one.
Yay.
It happened, and I'm glad it happened because this was a really fun discussion. So thank you so much for doing this, but also for being a part of the Ampliverse. And like I said, taking that journey, because mental wellness is so important, but also it's the little things in life that we love, like the food, the journey through food and all that stuff. And it was great to have this conversation about collectibles. You've certainly made me feel better about myself today. So I appreciate this conversation very, very much. Obviously, you can check out Taylor's writing on the Ampliverse website, which is theampliverse.com. You can follow the Ampliverse on Twitter to stay up to date on all of that sort of stuff. We have the Instagram as well. Both of those are at the Ampliverse. And if you want to get in touch with us about anything too, we got the old-fashioned Gmail as well, which is theampliverse@gmail.com. So if you've got a fandom or something maybe you're passionate about, or just thinking about like, oh, this might be a fun idea for a show, or you just want to say, hey, I like this thing, I send us an email. Honestly, this was fun. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, both of you, for being here. And if you enjoyed the video, obviously, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, because we got all sorts of stuff coming out on here, like Limited Time Yum, like the popsicle or the bourbon study. We have so many things happening. So tune in and be a part of it too. We want to create a community. We want to get that dialogue going. It's not just, we don't want this to be one-sided. We want to grow this universe out there. So please do not ever be hesitant to engage with us, because we are all here for it. So thank you again, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.